Alright, we should be going live now. Welcome everyone who is watching. This is On Just Restart. I am joined by Brandon from What About Nintendo. Yeah, I just smacked my computer. But we're going to be talking about Pokemon rumors. We're going to be talking about our favorite Mario game tonight. We're going to be talking about that horrendous Sonic movie, or at least what looks to be a horrendous Sonic movie based off the widespread negative opinion of these apparent leaks of how Sonic is going to look. So that's pretty much what we're going to be talking about. A couple other little things we're getting into. One thing I decided that maybe we should start doing from now on the podcast, Brandon, is just like the main topic. I think maybe we should talk about that first from now on, because most people are coming to the cast for that, so we can focus the main topic from now on earlier on in the podcast. I think more people would appreciate that, because the entire title is basically about Pokemon rumors and leaks, so we're just going to jump right into that. Maybe we could wait a couple minutes, right? But, basically, instead of like talking about the smaller topics first and then leading up to it, we'll kind of reverse that order. Because sometimes, actually, our end game topics can get really interesting, because we usually get into something that we didn't even think about talking about. So, like, for those who stay...
we don't want to play 20 hours.
Right. They still get the good stuff if they stay late, but for the people who came for that particular topic, they'll get it if they're here early. So I think maybe that's a better way to handle it. Couple little things. I don't know if we'll have a whole topic for it, but Turok. We're getting Turok. That's coming out soon. I really like that game. I had it on N64. There's a whole issue because I was a kid then. It was in the 90s. I was a little kid, okay? I was born in 91, so I was like, I don't know, like 6, 7 years old. And I loved Turok, and my mom was like, no, we're going to have to take away this game. And I fought tooth and nail to keep Turok. I won that battle. Nice. Like, we weren't even at home. Like, we were already in the car, like, outside, like, near a store to return it. I was like, no, we're keeping this. I fought for
held on to it for dear life.
The game was very mature. It was a mature rated game, but I'd been playing and seeing it for a while. Like, it wasn't like whatever impact that game was gonna have on me, it was already had. So I don't even know how that happened or what was the reason for that weird situation, but I loved Turok back then. Fun fact, for those who don't know, a lot of key members from Iguana Entertainment, the original developer for Turok 1 and 2, I believe, they went on to become Retro Studios, which is now wholly owned by Nintendo, and they're, of course, responsible for the Metroid Prime series, as well as the new Donkey Kong Country games, and whatever else they've been working on the last 5 years. So that was kind of like the predecessor to Metroid Prime. Like, we didn't have a Metroid game in the N64 era, but we did have Turok, and it was pretty darn good.
Yeah. Dude, I never got to play Turok when I was young. I played like GoldenEye and like Halo, but we never got Turok. I don't think my parents even knew it was a thing, probably.
Turok is kind of scary, dude. Like, there's like jump scares. Like, there are moments where you're like going like a dark hallway. It's very, very misty, and then a giant golem just breaks out of the wall. You're like, oh! Like, it's kind of like in Metroid Prime, where there are some jump scares that happen, like a space pirate just like breaks out of the ceiling, and you're like, oh! Like, just like that. It's very similar. It's really cool. So
yeah, I'll probably check it out.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it for Switch. Yeah. When is the Resident Evil game supposed to come out? Soon, right?
Soon, but I didn't care about it, so I didn't pay attention, to be fully honest.
I heard there's a bit of a Switch tax on it, so people are kind of not too excited about this right now. But we'll see. I love Resident Evil, so I might pick up 0. I might pick up 4. But I see you there, Josh. How you doing, buddy? I'm glad you're doing good, man. Chris, hello there. How's it going, man? So, anything else we want to cover before we jump right into things?
No, we should be good.
Maybe I should tweet this out.
Probably. Good idea.
Maybe so. Another thing I guess we won't have a topic for, but you could talk about it now, because I know you made a video on it and I didn't get a chance to watch it. But there was some news about a Harry Potter game that's made by Niantic, the same team that made Pokemon Go. So I saw a trailer for it. looks like Pokemon Go, but with Harry Potter stuff. But what's interesting about it is that the design seemed to match the real world more, because Harry Potter's meant to be in the real world.
Right.
Kind of an interesting little difference there. Otherwise, it seems to kind of be based off the same mechanics. Obviously, very different, but I just mean like the underlying structure of it looks very similar.
Right.
Even the UI is pretty much is very similar.
Yeah, it is. Even the because they have, you know, their version of Pokestops, which I forget what they're called, but they're literally the exact same places as Pokestops as well. So if you know Pokestops in the area, you'll be able to go there for Harry Potter as well. The main difference is, like, you don't catch different creatures in the game. You go and you, like, fight stuff, and like you'll go and you'll walk around, there'll be a Dementor just sucking out someone's soul, and you gotta Expecto Patronum, they ask, so they stop. And then you'll be like werewolves and Death Eaters and all kinds of stuff. So it's more focused on fighting and like rather than catching Pokemon. Okay. There is some stuff where you have to like help out different creatures that have been like hurt, or they've need help in some way. So the actual gameplay mechanic is very different from Pokemon Go, but the underlying structure is pretty much the same.
All right. Yeah, I mean, you know, it looks good. It looks good. Whoa! I see Chris is playing Pokemon Uranium. I've actually never played Pokemon Uranium. I know that's like it's like a mod, right, of one of the older Pokemon games. But it's basically like its own game. Interesting. Maybe I should look into that. But yeah, you know, because it's a mobile game, it's gonna be free to play. Like, I'm gonna give it a shot. You know, when I first heard, oh, there's a Harry Potter game showing off, I thought it was actually remember that leak?
I remember that leak.
That's what I was hoping it was, and I was like, oh, this is the mobile game. Oh.
Yeah, okay. That leak looked epic.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's nothing wrong with what we got, but nothing too crazy.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to wait a little bit for more people to kind of fill in. I know I said I wanted to focus on the main topic, but I see that not everyone's here yet. So, I'm kind of thinking about, there's certain rumors that I want more people to be here for. So I'll wait a few more minutes, but we could start just delving into it a little bit. So, I made a couple. There's so many different rumors. There's so many, and I have some that are separate. I'll put up the tabs in a moment so you guys can see it. But where do you stand on the possibility of there being armor Pokemon in Sword and Shield? Like, that's come up a bit, right? Some credible leakers have retweeted it, and we've seen some evidence in the game that seems to support that. Like, there's that one shot of the girl in the lab, and if you zoom in all the way to the right, you can see a diagram with a Charizard, and it has some machinery around it, almost like talking about how it could be added onto it, which kind of supports the premise of there being armored Charizard, which is a part of the rumor,
right? Along
with Armor Mewtwo, which we'll get into that in a bit, and we could get into it now. But there was a trademark that came up for Armor Mewtwo as well. That's official. Armor Mewtwo has been trademarked. Granted, normally when these trademarks happen, they're not actually related to the games. They're usually related to the trading cards or the movies. And we do know that they are remaking the original Pokemon movie. Mewtwo is in there. It's when he was first introduced, and he has armor in that movie at some point. So that's probably what it's going to be.
That's what I think that is. Though, did he have armor in the original version?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Not when he gets released, but there's like a timeline of how the movie takes place, and you haven't seen it yet, right? So
no.
So the basic synopsis, like, Mewtwo is created. He sees his creators don't love him or care about him. He's just a tool, so he destroys them. And then Giovanni, the leader of Team Rocket, finds him and convinces him to partner up with him, and that he could help him to train and utilize his powers. So he puts the armor on Mewtwo to help him learn to focus his powers and also kind of control him, right? But that part was, you know, he skipped over that part, you know, when he was talking about putting on the armor. But the convincing point was to help him to focus his psychic abilities, and Mewtwo just proceeded to just destroy everything. But eventually, you know, Mewtwo realizes that Giovanni's just using him too, and then he breaks away, and then that's pretty much when the main story kind of begins. But
okay,
yeah, so we probably will see Armor Mewtwo because that's a big plot point in the story. And actually, Armor Mewtwo does show up in the original Pokemon anime. It's kind of like this mysterious thing. You're like, what the hell is this? But it's brief. From what I remember, at least, maybe my memory is a little blurry here, but I'm pretty sure it's at least referenced at some point in the anime.
Okay, because I was just thinking, because a lot of the Pokemon movies sometimes have hints for the games, so I was kind of like, oh, maybe that's a hint for Armored Evolutions, but maybe not, or maybe they just, I don't know. It kind of supports it, I guess, just because it's in there, but that trademark, I think, is obviously for the movie.
Yeah, but one point I brought up in a video I made, I don't know, like a week or so ago, is that even though it was before the trademark went live, I said Armor Mewtwo is going to be the movie, and this is not like an incredible prediction because we know it's a remake and Armor Mewtwo is already already in the game. I mean, in the movie. So, but like because of that, that could also, they may update that a little bit. They may add a little bit more to that, and it could tie into this supposed armor mechanic that we could be seeing in Pokemon Sword and Shield. And it makes sense considering the whole Sword and Shield thing. Like it all kind of matches up, especially when you consider that diagram of the Charizard, right? So it all kind of does add up a little bit. And I see some of you guys are saying some stuff in the chat about this. Vooper, hello. Yeah, does Charizard really need another form? I don't know. That's the thing. I'm the biggest Charizard fan. The biggest. And I love Charizard X. I love Charizard Y. I don't think we need another form of it. However, I'll say this, okay? With X and Y, right? We always, originally, like we go back to 2013, the talk was then, hey, aren't we going to get a Pokemon Z? Right? We thought we would get a Pokemon Z. Kind of made sense. And with Pokemon Z, we also thought, oh, we'll get Mewtwo Z, Charizard Z, because you already had Charizard X and Y, Mewtwo X and Y. So we thought that we'd get the Z forms for each of them. So this gets interesting when you think about the possibility that we could be going back to Kalos. There's been a lot of rumors and hints that maybe Kalos is part of the post-game. There could be a big link between Kalos and Galar. Yeah, I was going to say Galarian. I'm mixing up another topic we're going to talk about later that's related. But, like, what if, you know, this third evolution was always in mind? It wasn't just, you know, our speculation. It was always in mind, but that third evolution is being made more into just this armor mechanic, and that's how Mewtwo and Charizard are going to get their third form. It's a third form. I understand that. I'm there with you. Even though I'm a big Charizard fan, I'm right there with you. But at the same time, if we go back to the speculation from years ago about Charizard Z and Mewtwo Z along with Pokemon Z, this could be Pokemon Company and Game Freak finally fulfilling that. It wasn't a promise, but, you know, it seemed like it was going to be the case.
Yeah, so, Z was like... so. Everyone was talking about Pokemon Z, and then it just didn't happen. I was like, oh, wow, okay.
Right, and with the whole Zygarde thing, like, there was a Pokemon Zygarde. Like, there was Xerneas X, Yveltal Y, and then there was also Zygarde in the game, but there was no game for him, right? And then we had to wait until... He did. We didn't get Zygarde's, like, full-on, like, form and stuff. Like, his story wasn't really told until Pokemon Sun and Moon, the generation after X and Y. So it was almost like, I think they must have had some sort of plans for Z, but they had to change it. Another interesting thing, I don't remember the named locations, but there was a couple locations in X and Y that you could see them, they were there, and you couldn't do anything with them. Like, there was this one, like, factory power plant. You could see a whole bunch of buildings there, and you could see them, but you could never actually access them. They were just there. It was like unused resources, like an unused area in the game. The same also applies for Koryaway Station, another area in X and Y that was just never used. Like, and then you'll take into consideration Zygarde. That was never fully formed until Sun and Moon. So there is these concepts that we all believed would be, you know, fully realized in a Pokemon Z. Never happened, right? So if you think about the rumors talking about Kalos, right, and how it could link up, this could be the opportunity for Game Freak to fulfill some of the missing points or plot holes or areas that were teased in X and Y that we never got to see fully realized, right? Like, one rumor, it's also a theory of mine, I made a video, like, I looked at the map, and I analyzed everything, and it seems to suggest that there is a railroad that does kind of line downwards, that doesn't connect to anything else in the game. it could be leading to Kalos. And if that's the case, here's the interesting thing, because in that video, I looked at how all of the gym locations seem to suggest that the Elite Four might not be in Galar. Maybe. It could be at the top, but there's also seems to be an Ace Gym there, and normally they're not in the same area, which means if that's the case, and they keep that rule, the Elite Four has to be somewhere else, and if it's nowhere in Galar, where would it be? Maybe in Kalos, especially because the maps seem to line up. France and Great Britain are close to each other. There's this railroad that seems to go downwards, but we don't know where it fits. And Koryaway Station, the station that doesn't seem to link up to anywhere, that could maybe be where it goes. And guess what? Koryaway Station is actually, like, really close to the Elite Four in Kalos. Like, it's really, really close. It's not, it's like a town away, basically. Like, it's a little bit more intense, but it's like, it's close. Like, I remember flying to Koryaway Station and making a trip to that area. It wasn't, like, that far of a trip. It's really close. And I can see how that can maybe work. And it would make sense because if you think about the only other time we got to go back to a previous region was in Generation 2, Silver and Gold. Kanto and Johto were connected. So they basically shared a mountain range. Like, that was like the border between the two regions. And along the mountain range was the Elite Four, right? It was on the right side of it in Kanto, but it was still a part of it. So what if it's a similar situation where there is a second region, but guess what? These two regions, because they're right next to each other, they actually share an Elite Four. So, you know, it kind of... all of these little things kind of seem to line up with each other, so it could be the case. It might not be the case, right? I don't want to, like, say, oh, 100% it's happening. It might not be. It could just be the Elite Four and the 8th Gym are all in the same town, or the 8th Gym's just hidden in something else. But it makes sense, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, something weird about the Galar map in general is just how there's, like, the bottom half of the map is, like, nothing, and then the top half of the map is, like, packed full with everything. And there's just that giant mill section that has, like,
nothing.
2 spots you could maybe go to, and it's like, okay, it's just grass and a lake, a couple lakes, and then the starter town doesn't really have anything of interest. So it's like the complete bottom half of the map is so uninteresting, and then the top half is just packed full of gyms.
Well, I like the modest feel of it, but doesn't seem like there's any gyms in the beginning area. Like the first half of the map, you're right, there doesn't seem to be any gyms, and I kind of like that, but at the same time, it is weird. It's definitely weird. And on top of that, to add more another little tidbit, we can see the border, or at least the cutoff for the northern part of the map. Like, there's just ocean there, but the bottom part, it connects to something, and there's clouds around it, and there's this weird forest area. Like, it's all... there could be something there, right? There could be something there, and that's really cool to me. Let me see what some of you guys are saying in the chat. Cresswood Mill, hello there, buddy. Sabbath, Ethan Cantu. I'm doing well, Brandon's doing terrible. Vooper, I'm glad you also agree. There's definitely a possibility. I also would like to think that the map is not complete and that we're going to Kalos, or at least another area, at least a Battle Frontier or something. That'd be really cool. And for sure, they're definitely hiding stuff for us. Alex, what's up, buddy? So, yeah, there's definitely some things that are interesting, and you've noted this as well, Brandon, but that giant lake area, it kind of just, like, opens up. It opens up. Like, when I took a closer look at the map, there is a little railroad right next to that red house. And I didn't notice that until you got the 4K version of the map.
The power 4K,
the power 4K. When you zoom in, there is a little railroad right next to that red house just past the beginning town area. And
yeah, because we originally thought it went to the big bridge because we couldn't tell what was going on.
But if you think about it, like, how often do trains go through several mountain ranges? Like, they could go through one, but, like, the mountains curve down, so they would have to go underground. They go even lower. It just seems like if a train's going to go through a mountain range, it's going to be one mountain range. It's not going to curve into another road to come out.
And it was a weird... it would have been, like, really like this when they could have just done that.
Yeah.
It would have had to been like, wee.
So I think there's definitely a possibility that railroad just leads to the red house. Especially because if there's a red house there, why would they have a red house that's on the other side of a mountain range? So that what that means is that, okay, so let's just hypothetically speak. Let's say that entire lake area in the middle is not explorable, right? even though I think it is now, but let's just say it isn't.
Right.
Okay? If you can't get to that red house, and the only way you can get to the other side is by taking the giant bridge road on the left, right? If you go that way and you go to the red town, the big industrial city, and you come out to look at that area, I'm sure I won't let you see it, but the red house is like surrounded by mountains. So you may not even be able to see the red house from the other side of the expanse because it's like really far away, and the red house is like down a valley of mountains. It's surrounded.
Yeah, it is.
So why even have it on the map? I would imagine it's because if it's that far into the mountains, like you got at least access, and it seems to make more sense that you would go through there, gain access to this giant lake area, and there's a tower in the left area of the lake area, and then the actual industrial city. It has a drawbridge, it looks like. So
yeah, it has a way to get in from the grassy plains, I guess, of that area.
Right. So I am with the frame of mind that we'll be able to explore that, I think.
Yeah, I think you take the train, you go to whatever that red place is, and then you walk up through the middle to the industrial area.
Yeah. I see Alex doesn't like the fact that he used the word buddy to describe him. He's not my pal, friend, my buddy, friend, pal.
Yeah. I actually don't like it when people call me bud. I don't know why.
Okay, bud.
It's probably jeez. It's probably because like I always hear little like kids being called bud, and some like person calls me bud, and I'm just like, eh. I'm not 3.
I mean, I don't love bud either, but homie, chum. These are all good.
There you go.
Maybe in Pokemon Sword and Shield, your rival's just gonna be called Chum. He's gonna be like, hey chum, what's up, chum?
No, God, probably.
Yeah, for sure. So let's get into some of the planned rumors I had to talk about, right? We got people in here now, so now I feel more comfortable just kind of jumping into this. So the first one I want to talk about, and granted, most of these rumors are from like last week, so if they're like not completely new, I'm sorry. But
I mean, that is how our weekly podcast works.
Yeah. So this is King Rag's Twitter. He's one of the people who pointed this out, so check him out if you're interested. He covers lots of some Pokemon stuff, but hopefully you guys can see this. I'm assuming you guys can see this. But this is the footage, the supposed leaked footage of a Pokemon that could be from Pokemon Sword and Shield. Now, I'll get into why I don't think it is, but first let's talk about why it might be. One, it looks... Brandon, can you see it, by the way?
I'm looking at it.
So, you can see that it looks like it's in the same underground area that we see from the trailer. Like, it even has the jewels, the lights. Like, it looks very similar. And on top of that, the Pokemon, I think, is a very good design. It looks really good.
Yeah, I like it.
It looks really good. It looks like a Sun and Moon or X and Y Pokemon. Like, in terms of the graphics and style. And that pretty much is what is a Pokemon in Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Yeah, they're the same models with a slightly more complex shader. That's literally the exact.
Pretty much. What they are. And on that note, though, that's where I'm going to start getting into why I'm a little skeptical. I feel like, and correct me, Brandon, you're a bit more, knowledgeable on graphics and stuff and noticing these little details. But from what you can see, don't you feel like the shading on this Pokemon it's more along the lines that we saw in Sun and Moon and X and Y rather than Sword and Shield, even though the difference is very subtle? Like, I feel like the shading is not as complex as it is as from the Pokemon we saw in Sword and Shield.
Yeah, I tend to agree. It's kind of harder to tell because they're in a cave, so there's not like a bunch of light.
And it's like this shot is, at least the idea they're trying to portray here, assuming it's fake, right, is that this is a shot of a screen with a phone, right? So we don't even see, it's like, it's supposedly widescreen, but we can't tell because it's only a phone covering the frontal, the middle part. So it's hard to say.
The wing animation, though, assuming that it's not some byproduct of the phone video, is trash. It's literally just 2 frames flash back and forth.
Well, I kind of like it. Have you seen the source footage? I imagine if you're watching it through the stream, the frame rate might be a little off. Have you seen it before? Do you want me to send you?
I have not. Can you send me the link?
I'll send you the link. Just maybe you can get a better look at the frame rate. Maybe it looks better for you.
Yeah, maybe because it's, from what I'm seeing, it's literally like 2 frames thrown back and forth.
All right, I'll send it to you real quick. Oh, Brandon, we're not friends anymore. I can't send you the message. Here. Yeah, tell me if it looks any different for you, but I mean, it's not I see.
No, it's pretty much the same.
It's the same? Okay.
Yeah, it's essentially what the animation is 2 frames, so it's what they're doing. If you pause it, you can tell. There's just 2 wings, and then they color one, and then unshade, like translucent the other one, and then just flash back and forth between the 2.
Oh, there are a couple of frames where you can see like it's just on one side or the other. That's interesting. I don't think that's a problem, but
I just don't think it looks super good.
I think it looks pretty good for a fan-made thing. I love the design of it. But
I like that. That's the only thing I don't like is the wing animation is just trash.
I think the tentacles look cool, but like you can't really see any detail on them. It's just kind of
they're pretty much just white.
Yeah, so,
I feel like they added more texture to things and
like, I just feel like with the lighting and Sword and Shield, we'd be able to see the divots and stuff on the tentacles more, right? They just look kind of flat, is what I'm saying. Like and again, you know, this could be footage from early on in the game. So even if it doesn't look great, it could probably just be because it's test footage. Like, it's still a game in development. So, you know, it's beta footage or whatever. So it may not be that it's fake. It could just be that it's still early footage. Another thing I'd like to point out, though, I do feel like the background environment is a bit low res. Like, it doesn't look high quality to me. Like,
I find that was a problem with the actual game itself.
Right, but here's the thing. At least in that, the space was way bigger. Like, the battles Houston agrees with me. So, that's my dog. The actual, like, footage that we saw from the Sword and Shield trailer, like, all the fights were the battlefields are actually more expansive, right, because they were outside. So the backgrounds are further away. This one's, like, right in your face. So we haven't seen a battle in a cave. Yeah. So I don't know if it's going to look like this or not. It's hard to say.
I'm looking at the cave area right now, and honestly, they get pretty close to the wall sometimes.
But what about the floor? The floor is just completely... It's like one giant flat color.
Yeah, the floor... I'm looking at the floor has a lot of texture, actually.
It does?
Yeah, it does, compared to this. Then again, it's like, maybe there is texture.
You mean the trailer has a lot of texture on the floor compared to
Yeah, the actual trailer.
Okay, I got you.
The real one.
Right.
Also, that light isn't the exact same. Slightly... It's hard to tell because it's off-camera footage, but it doesn't...
Yeah.
It looks pretty similar, but it's not exactly the same.
Right.
It's like the coloring is slightly different, but that's probably just a byproduct of the video. I mean, I don't see anything that stands out to me that says, oh, this is fake, but...
Well, I'll tell you one thing that to me kind of says it's fake. It's not 100%. They could use the same UI, but if you look at the bottom right, that looks like the same UI from Pokemon Let's Go. Look at that. If you look at the bottom right, you see the little circles for, like, battle and stuff. I don't think they'll use the exact same UI. I mean, maybe they will, because maybe.
Oh, you're right. It is, like, the same UI.
It looks the same.
So, I couldn't tell until I went to the actual, like, Twitter, because I had the YouTube zoomed out, but
okay.
I see it now. Yeah, it's also, like, really see-through. It's weird.
Oh, maybe they can't see it, because I think the way I have the stream set up, that it cuts off part of the... Let me see how it looks.
I'm looking at Pokemon right now, and I just don't think the shading...
Can't see it on the stream. Let me raise the video a little so you can see it.
Yeah.
How do I do that without screwing everything up?
I don't know. Well, but I'm looking at Pokemon right now in the trailer.
What I can do is just...
I don't know, man.
This. You should be able to see it on stream.
It. Okay, I'm not even looking at the stream right now. You
should be able to see, if you look where I'm talking about, guys. Right here. I'm seeing what you guys are seeing now.
Can you zoom in?
I did, a little.
No, I meant, like, you can open it to full screen.
Well, the problem is that when I do that, it cuts off the bottom of the UI, which is what I'm trying to talk about.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
That's what you were doing earlier, got it.
Yeah,
okay.
So the Let's Go UI, that looks like the Let's Go UI. So that...
Yeah.
One, it's possible they're using the same UI, but I feel like they would update that. So, a bit skeptical.
Yeah, unless this is... I could see maybe this is early, but I'm looking at different Pokemon right now, and they all have way more shading than this one does. Like, they have, like, a lot of shadows and the shading models.
You have any pictures you can send me for a quick comparison?
Let me see.
I'm gonna just get rid of this for now. But yeah, I don't know. It looks weird. I like the idea that it's Bug Dragon. I think it's a really cool typing.
I like the design.
I don't think we've gotten a Bug Dragon before. Like, closest thing is Flygon, who's not actually a Bug Dragon, but he looks like a bug, and he's a Dragon Ground type. So that's pretty much like the closest thing. I would love to see an actual Bug Dragon. So if this is real, I'm happy because it looks cool. But there are little things that I'm like skeptical of. I can't be like, oh, this is for sure. It might be, but it might not be.
I think this photo isn't the one I was looking at, but it will work. It's the one I had.
Okay.
You can kind of see even with this one that there's like a lot of shading on it, whereas the one from the Twitter is completely flat.
Okay.
The colors are very flat, so.
All right, so I'll take a oof. Oh, it's because it's so zoomed in. I'm at 200%.
Ah.
All right, hopefully you guys can see that clearly. There we go. That probably looks.
You can see there's a lot of different shading on it. It even has a sort of like, faked subsurface, like anime version of.
Like
subsurface
you see that's the thing. You look at the Pokemon models, you can see like a clear like disparity between the tops and bottom parts of the Pokemon because the lighting is very evident, right? Now in a cave, it's possible the light source is different, but we don't even see any evidence of a light source in that footage. So I'm gonna go and say that this leaked bug footage is fake because if you look at this, you look at the two Pokemon here. You can see the shadows on the lower sides of them, and the top parts, it's very bright. You can see that clear disparity, and if I go back to that footage that we just looked at, I'll put it on the stream one more time. You look at it one more time, guys. You don't see that on this one. Like, it's all flat. So I'm going to say that this is fake. It looks like something from Sun and Moon or X and Y as opposed to...
Yeah, it doesn't have the same lighting model as the new game.
And I'm gonna put the little asterisk. Maybe it's possible this comes from an even earlier form of the game than what we saw in the trailer, right? And that's why like the lighting engine wasn't in place yet. Definitely possible, but I'm gonna say unlikely. I would say this is unlikely.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
It also, the walls are like really, if you look at them, they're like flat, like straight down on the ground.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like it just
doesn't
seem very detailed to me. Like yeah, I understand that it might be closer up because it's in a cave, but when you look at everything else, there's a lot more detail in Sword and Shield from what we've seen. So I'm gonna say it's probably fake. Yeah,
the walls are very flat. Like in Sun and, or in the real game, they're very curved and such. So, yeah, it just doesn't line up unless it's a really early build or something.
And I guess you could also make the argument, you can, like, see this outline on Bug Dragon. Like, you can kind of see the aliasing issue a little bit, right? Like, you know what I'm talking about or no?
Yeah, I can kind of see it.
And as Vooper pointed out, like, the Pokemon models in Sword and Shield look pretty crisp by comparison.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell because it's off-camera footage, but...
True. Yeah, and again, I do think this is possible, but I'm gonna say unlikely.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree.
Okay. Even though I love the design, I think it looks amazing. So see what some of you guys are saying in the chat. Sav thinks it looks legit. I mean, at first glance, I agree. It does look legit. Okay, it looks like we covered that part though. I hope there's a lot of new type combos, Vooper. I really do. You didn't get a 3DS, Sabbath? Oh, you missed out on those games. Yeah, the last Pokemon game you played for me at the DS was Black and White. Man, it's been quite... It's going to be a huge jump for you. Huge. Also true, Vooper, if it's easier to... I'll just read what you said so everyone can hear it. It's also worth knowing that it's a lot easier to pass off something you made yourself if you slap it on your screen and shakily film it with your phone. Right, because then, you know... It becomes blurry and you can hide details or inaccuracies because of the way the footage is caught, right? So, definitely true.
Yeah, and these are very... Pokemon models aren't insane. They're not hard to make, honestly. If somebody knew how to make a 3D model and they you know, could just go in there and make it in a, you know, a day or two and slap that on
I will
video.
say that the person, whoever did make this, assuming this is fake, right? I think they did a great job. Like,
yeah, they did a good job.
Really good.
It looks like, I like the design. Like, if that was a real Pokemon, I would not complain.
Yeah, like maybe it's so good that Game Freak should consider hiring them. Kind of good. Yeah, for sure. So let's move on though. Now this next thing I want to talk about is this is a leak that has way less credibility. Okay. Way less credibility, but it's interesting. So I'm gonna talk about it. Right, here we are. Yeah, this is fine. Now this one. All right, so this is one of them random 4chan leaks, but it got a lot. It got a lot, like, a lot of things about it make sense. Like, it's probably 100% fake, but it just, like, it makes so much sense. It's just kind of really nice to think that this could be the game, right? So I'll read it off and we'll kind of like break it down point by point. So can't say his. By the way, this is the last like 4chan leak I'm gonna talk about. I'm not gonna have an entire podcast about 4chan leaks, but occasionally I think they're interesting to go over. So can't say his position as I don't want him to be found, but take the information I've received from a trusted source to heart. See you guys soon. By the way, can everyone see everything here? Because I realized that in the other shot, everything was cut off. Okay, so you guys can see everything. All right, good. All right.
I think so.
All right, cool. So, first thing says, trailer coming next week, March 13th. That would be 2 days from now. So we'll know. We'll know.
Right.
This Wednesday, if this is fake or not. Right? Showing off 3 new Pokemon. A Shoebill, a Spider, and a Kitten. So keep your eyes peeled on the 13th, guys. If we get a trailer, and it has a Spider, a Kitten, and a Shoebill, this right here is going to become the Bible. But it probably won't be. So, you know, be prepared for that.
Right.
But let's just go on. So that's all I know. I was also given a little bit of information around the games. Here they are. All right. 2 professors. One studies the offensive capabilities of Pokemon, while the other one studies the defensive capabilities of Pokemon. So this is an interesting idea. And even though this leak may be completely fake, probably fake, I don't think this is a crazy idea, and it could actually be the case because we actually do have 2 purple houses, and it just seems like the first one is definitely a lab, but there's also one all the way in the back. So what if one's like an old crazy kook? And depending which game you play, the crazy kook is either the sword or a shield one. And if there actually is armor evolution in this game, maybe the armor evolution or armor mechanic is based off sword and shield, the titles of the game. If there are 2 purple houses, 2 purple labs in the beginning area, 2 different professors, that isn't really that much of a stretch, I would say. I think that is almost suggested by the information we have already. I kind of like that idea. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think that if the armor evolution is true, and I meant to say this earlier, but I forgot. I definitely think you're gonna go to that purple house in the back of the first town and get armor for your Pokemon, and it would evolve there. It's not gonna be like natural evolution or something like that. It's gonna be like I took my Pokemon to the lab and got him an armor evolution.
Yeah, I don't think it's something you have in early games. I think it's something that happen a little bit later.
No, I think that's something you come back for.
Yeah, your Pokemon must be fully evolved first, I would imagine. I really doubt that mid-evolutions would get armor.
Yeah, that wouldn't happen. Because they have to design an armor enhancement for something that's not going to last that long. So why would they just even bother putting research into it all?
Exactly. Another thing, though, just going back to the other idea, we do know that one of the labs has that diagram with the Charizard with the machinery. So it supports the idea that at least one of the labs, well, at least one of the purple houses,
and I do think
armor Pokemon.
Yeah, I do think it's the one in the back because they show that shot where you can see it, and then they immediately show a shot of them standing in front of the house in the back by the lake. So it seems like they're trying to be like, you know, this is the same house.
Could be the case. I definitely think, you know, there's something there. So at least in terms of this part, even like again, this person has the same access to information we do. The points they're making are something you can kind of deduce from the evidence we have. So it could just be a prediction, and I think it's one that makes sense. So let's go down to this part, which is actually really interesting to me. So regional variants return. Galarian forms. For the anniversary of Johto Pokemon, Shuckle becomes offensive, gets a bunch of multi-hit moves. Hoot Hoot evolves in this region to become a more offensive snow owl that shoots icicle spears. Snubbull becomes a more defensive but more heroic and blue. I'm sure there is more. So, what do you think about that?
Is Hoot Hoot the one in the trailer?
Hoot Hoot is the
owl
owl.
in the trailer?
Yes, owl. He's a round little owl.
Gotcha.
That's his first form.
I mean, English. I loved the Alolan forms in Sun and Moon, so that Galarian form would be really cool.
Yeah, like I'm okay. Here's the thing: I don't need it to be like way more Pokemon. Like if they start going to,
there's already so many.
If they start, they're gonna have over 1,000 probably after this gen. Like even if we don't have 1,000, like if you count alternate forms as whole new Pokemon, which to me they basically are, like that's a lot. The only advantage that alternate forms offer is that you don't necessarily have to create like a whole evolutionary line. You could just create one form, right? Like so, for example, like there's Ice Vulpix and Ice Ninetales, so they did create a new evolutionary line for that one. But for example, Marowak, there's only when Cubone evolves, it becomes either the normal Marowak or the Fire Ghost Marowak, right? So they didn't create a new form for Cubone, just the Marowak. So I feel like by offering forms, they can create more final evolutionary lines or forms, but they don't have to go through the work of creating the additional baby evolution designs, you know? And when I say babies, I don't mean because that's also technically a tier of Pokemon. There are baby Pokemon, but I just mean the stage ones.
Right.
So, I kind of like that. And apparently, it's the anniversary. What? Is it the anniversary for this year? Is it?
Maybe in Japan.
Silver and Gold came out. It's if it's not, it's like within a year. If I put Silver and Gold, the first thing that comes up is not Pokemon related. How dare?
Oof.
Comes out. Yep, it would be the 20th anniversary of Pokemon Silver and Gold. It came out November 21, 1999. Makes sense. I like that idea. And here's something else that kind of is interesting when you consider that thinking. Pokemon Let's Go, Pikachu and Eevee, right? That happened last year. And there have been talks that maybe they'll continue the series, and the next logical step would be Let's Go and Johto. So, and here's an interesting thing about Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. What was one difference that Let's Go had compared to its original versions? The Alolan forms.
Right.
So, what if we go back to Johto and Let's Go next year, and they have Galarian forms? Because they introduced them in Pokemon Sword and Shield. I'd be okay with that. I'd love that. That'd be great. It makes sense. And
it's really cool.
And it is the anniversary. And
I honestly believe that this is we're gonna definitely get Galarian forms. To be honest, I think it's just gonna happen.
Yeah. So I want to stress that like this is another one of those things where this person, assuming that it's fake, right? I think it's just a really good prediction with very sound reasoning. Right, like it makes sense. Like there have been hints that we're getting our Let's Go game in Johto. It is the 20th anniversary. The Alolan forms were very well received. Why wouldn't they go for that again? Like all those things make a lot of sense. And I think it's highly possible that this actually happens, even if this is 100% fake. It just makes a lot of sense. I really like the idea of it. I would love to see Galarian forms, and with Galarian forms, I don't necessarily want Galarian forms for the Johto starters, but I want the Johto starters to get Mega Evolutions. They need it. They need a new... The Johto starters are the only starters that are 100% like monotype. Like, Typhlosion's just fire, Feraligator's just water, Meganium's just grass. Maybe you could say that that's kind of a cool thing, because they can just be pure fire, but they also kind of suck. Like, Meganium... it's not that they 100% suck, they're kind of effective, but none of them are really competitively viable at all. The closest one is Feraligator. Like, they need a little bit more. Like, Typhlosion needs more. It has Eruption, but it's not fast enough. That's just one move. And there's so many other stronger moves now, so maybe not even that. Although, Eruption with a Fire Z move would be pretty strong now. That I could see that. And I wonder... I don't know this. I would have to check this. But does anyone in the chat know? Brandon, I know you don't know, so I'm not going to ask you. Does anyone in the chat know if Eruption, when you use the Z move off of it, if you take damage, is it still powering up off the original base power of Eruption? Or is the actual Z move itself get weaker when you take damage as well? Anyone in chat knows about that, let me know. Because I've never done that. I haven't used Typhlosion in years because he sucks, unfortunately. But I love Typhlosion. It was my first Pokemon. My first starter. It's in the cool. So I would love it if they could somehow get boost. Meganium, like, I think Meganium's such a great design, but she sucks. She's just not good enough. Like, there's nothing...
Maybe Galarian forms can save the Johto Pokemon.
That's what I want. I want Galarian forms or Mega Evolutions or some sort of maybe armor enhancement for the Johto starters because they need something to make a comeback. They really do. And we have... So, the Gen 3 starters, they got Mega Evolutions, right? Gen 1 starters have it. I think that's it. Nothing else has it. Although Greninja does get a special Ash Greninja form, which is not necessarily Mega Evolution, but it's similar. I don't know. Let me check the chat to see if you guys answer my question. No.
Nobody
knows.
No one knows. It is unknown.
Private information. He said you didn't mess out on much. Probably in reference to what I was talking about. With Samus about how you didn't play Gen 6 and 7. That's a big oof. I really liked those games. I thought they were pretty good. Also, Vooper, I agree, Rabombi is very important. It's one of my favorite newer Pokemon. I love how it can copy dances. So whenever a Pokemon does like a Quiver Dance or a Dragon Dance, it just copies those stat boosts, and that's really interesting. Joe, hello, man. You're saying the only problem is with this leak that we've never spotted a Steel Stadium on the Galar map unless it's the unknown one at the top, but I still hope this is real. Oh, it's an interesting point. We might have to pull up the map again to find the Steel Stadium. Let me see. Let's continue down this the rumor though, because
Right.
So the games take place 6 years after X and Y, with several new story differences once you traverse back to Kalos post game. So I want to say that because of the amount of stuff they're saying, it makes me really skeptical, because like this person like knows like everything about the game, you know.
Right.
But games take place 6 years after X and Y, with several new story differences once you traverse back to Kalos post game. Like they even know about the post game apparently. Ramos is retired. Trevor is now Grass Gym leader. Has a Trevenant. And Bonnie, older now, is now Electric Gym leader, while Clement is part of the E4 replacing Wickstrom, whom is a Steel Stadium leader in Galar. So there's supposed to be a Steel Stadium leader. That could be the Industrial City, by the way.
Right.
Like, we assume it's fire, but it could also be steel. I think the Industrial City could either have a fire or steel gym. It could be one or the other. It doesn't have to be, you know, so that could be it right there without even checking the map. So let's see the other side. This is the last one. So you can do the 3 first stadiums in Galar in any order: fire, water, and grass. Okay, that's a oof. That's a big oof there. I'll say, and then Az is linked to, or Oz is linked to the Sword and Shield box legends. He's like this weird character from X and Y, in case you didn't know, Brandon. He's used fragments of their body to help him build the ultimate weapon, aiming for November 22, 2019 release. When they say everything here, I'm just okay. Like,
yeah, that's like, too much to know.
Too much to know. But I also love the idea that you can collect the first 3 badges in any order you want.
Right. Yeah, that's one of the things we were really hoping for when we were talking about it before the game got announced. We were like, oh, we should be able to do some gyms in any order, like kind of like Ocarina of Time. You can do some dungeons in any order.
Yeah, but that was like, it was possible, but it was not like a mainstream thing to do. You know? I'm trying to find the 4K map you sent me. There it is. So I can just pull it up real quick. Just so we can take a quick look for a couple things. One, to talk about the if we could find a steel map. So this place right here is either fire or steel. I think we can agree the Industrial City is either fire or steel, right?
Yeah, probably.
But here's the other interesting thing. If you look carefully, right, the grass is over here, water is over here. And considering the trifecta of fire, water, grass, and because we can't obviously see fire, I would say it's very likely the industrial town is actually fire. For that reason. Because if you're going to have, not even because of the rumor that says fire, water, and grass you can collect it in the order, but mainly just because if grass and water are the first 2, it would make sense for fire to also be there as well, right?
Yeah.
And then if you look up, right, this one is almost certainly ice. This one is almost certainly ground because it's like a city based that worships Dugtrio. which is a ground Pokemon. And then up here,
Right.
if you zoom in, it's pretty much probably fairy because
yeah, it's got giant mushrooms and like cottages and such.
Yeah, it's probably fairy. So oof. Yeah, so we got ground, fairy, ice, water, grass, probably fire, maybe steel, but seems unlikely. And then this area has a giant dragon head. It has a tower with a dragon like thing.
The ancient like
it just
Chinese
seems
looking dragon.
really likely that it's a dragon, right? Like that just seems super. This is probably a dragon gym. But
that's what I'm assuming.
It's super. Another interesting thing is this head right here. I've heard some rumors suggest that this is actually the head of Charizard, but the armor form of Charizard.
Huh.
I mean, I can't. It has 2 horns. Can you think how many dragon Pokemon have 2 horns like that? It makes sense, man. It makes sense.
It does look kind of like Charizard's head.
It could be it. Maybe. You know, it'd be cool if they made a fire dragon Charizard, but it had levitate, so it wasn't weak to ground, and they just give it insane stats. But then it kind of would defeat the purpose of the other Charizards, but whatever.
Charizard's weak to ground. Why?
Charizard, when it evolves into Charizard X, because it becomes
a fire. Fly.
It becomes a fire dragon type, so it loses its flying type.
But it flies.
But it's a fire dragon, and its ability is Tough Claws. Like, so in Pokemon, there's 3 ways you can obtain immunity to ground. One, by being a flying type, right? The other way is by having the ability Levitate, right? So, because you're levitating, you know, you don't get hit, right? The third way is by having the item Air Balloon, or Balloon. And if you get hit once, your balloon pops, and then you're now vulnerable to ground types. So,
I wonder if they'll ever have a 3-type Pokemon. Have they ever done that before? I don't think. I've never heard of it, but you know, I've heard of a lot of things. So,
but there are a couple moves that kind of function like dual-type moves a little bit. There's the ice move. Freeze Dry, where it's an ice attack, but it's super effective against water types, which is interesting. And then there's I can't remember because it's like a move that's like barely used, but there's a fighting attack that like is pretty good against flying Pokemon. Like it's not like bad against it. They're not actually dual type moves, but they kind of blur the lines a little bit. That's like the only thing I can say towards that. Random thing I noticed though. If you look at this wall, look at this. There's like a crater there. Like there's probably an area you can explore.
You're right.
Yeah, but anyway, just kind of looking at this, though, I don't see a steel gym here. Like, it's maybe up here to steel gym, right? That's possible, because if fairy's over here, what else would be pink? I don't know. That's another thing that's weird. Like, we don't know what this gym is. It could be maybe psychic. It might not even be a specific type, you know?
Maybe not.
It's also possible this industrial city is steel, and they just actually don't care at all about fire, water, grass, and it just... coincidentally, grass and water are the first 2 on the map beside this one.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I also think that area right under the giant tower is probably the gym. Right
here. 100%. No, I pretty much... I don't know if you saw my video, but like the video I made analyzing the gym locations pretty much confirmed this in my opinion, because so if you look carefully at the Pokemon Direct after you show the trailer, if you look at this part right here with the bridge and the little circular protrusion, they show that scene in 3D in the Direct in the background when they're talking, and you can see that, and you can even see the blue and red symbol that's in front of every single gym, and that would be like right where this... If you look carefully, you can see a hole, you see a round area. This is it. Like, I'm 99% sure this is the gym. Like,
and it's got, like, chimney stacks that look very similar to the spikes.
Here's a weird idea. What if it's fire and steel?
That would make sense. I mean, it's an industrial area, so you melt steel and such.
It's a dual-type gym, which would be completely different from any gym we've ever seen, and if it's the first gym you explore, you know, like, that would kind of... It would be weird. I would love the idea of it, but I'm just saying if it's like one of the first 3 gyms you go to, it's fire and steel. I don't know.
Maybe it's one of the things they're changing. Maybe they're adding dual type gyms because they did say they're supposed to be trying new things, and we haven't seen any of these new things they're supposed to be trying.
Here's one potential new thing: they just put the final gym in the same city as Elite Four. Yay! So we get less areas to explore. Yeet. I mean, you know, it's assuming my theory's wrong, right? And we can't, that there is no other area to explore beyond this, right? Hard to say, but you know, yeah, I'm gonna say this rumor's fake. Like, you know, at first it's like, you know what, everything makes sense. Like, okay, you know, offensive, defensive type professors. There seems to be 2 labs that make sense. Galarian forms the Johto anniversary. We might be getting Let's Go Johto next year anyway. That all makes sense. Then, you know, after that, it kind of starts getting pretty... It seems a little far-fetched to me after that. Not because it's not possible, just because it doesn't seem to match up with the information we have, and it's just way too much info, you know?
Yeah. When you get a leak, you typically don't get the entirety of the game and the post-game. It's like, no,
it's
just
usually,
too much.
Usually smaller tidbits. Usually. Those are the things that I think.
Unless you know, like, a developer or something, you're not gonna get this kind of information.
It's so rare when that happens. Like, so Pokemon Let's Go was leaked, and it told us things, but it didn't tell us that much. Like, there were several things that it said about the games, but all of that was pretty much confirmed when the games were revealed.
Right.
This leak is, like, saying a lot, and the game's already been revealed, and it's just... again... Yeah, I think some of the things that are being said are highly likely. It makes sense. I think that they just made it based on you know, smart prediction.
Yeah. I mean, most leaks come from, like, promotional stuff. And people handling promotional things. They don't usually come from, like this kind of stuff, there's no way they're going to talk about this stuff for, like, a while. So nobody should know about this except the people making the game.
Right.
So, and the people making the game aren't about to leak it. They just spent all this hard work on it. They're not going to go leaking information about
it. But I doubt it.
Well, yeah, very, very, very rare instances that happens. Most of the time it doesn't.
Yeah, I don't think so. So, let me check in with the chat here.
Oh,
that wasn't my dog.
No, something in my garage fell.
Maybe it's a raccoon. Maybe it's a new Pokemon. Maybe it's a Bug Dragon. It's confirmed. It's real. No.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Oh, hopefully not. I might be in danger.
You'd be dead. Vooper saying, it's certainly interesting if Oz came back because his name was a hint of Horus. Was it? I don't understand the link. I missed that. Whenever that was talked about, I missed that.
I want to see who Oz
I need to probably look more into that lore because there's probably a lot of interesting details that I probably went right over my head when I played the games initially. Oh, Alpha and Omega. Okay, okay, that makes sense. I got you now. Alpha and Omega are the first and last of the Greek alphabet. That makes sense. Robeer, hey, probably a new Dragon-type Pokemon. I think for sure it's gonna be a new Dragon-type Pokemon. Like pretty much, almost every pseudo-legendary is a Dragon-type. I think the only exception is Tyranitar. Right? Like, Tyranitar is the pseudo-legendary for Generation 2, and it's Rock Dark. Generation 1, Dragonite. Generation 3, Salamence. Oh, there's Metagross. I think Metagross is technically also a pseudo-legendary, and that's still Psychic. But you still got Salamence. Generation 4, Garchomp. Dragon Ground. Generation 5 was the... Hydreigon, right? Like, there's certain rules for pseudo-legendaries. Like, they have to have a base stat total of 600. Pretty sure it was Hydreigon. Haxorus was not pseudo. It was a little weaker, I'm pretty sure. Yes, it was Hydreigon. Although Volcarona was pretty close to being a pseudo-legendary. And that was Firebug. But point is, there's a dragon like everyone. Like, Gen 6 was Goodra, and then Gen 7 was the... Como. Oh, like, I just don't like that Pokemon so much I don't remember its name. Even though initially I thought it was cool, it's just not effective enough. Volcarona is a pseudo-legendary in Vooper's heart. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Oh wait, so Savith, you saw the video of someone modding the Breath of the Wild without cel shading graphics, and it looks pretty bad. Yeah, I looked at it.
He said it looked pretty good.
Oh, I guess that was my.
Yeah, it does look pretty bad.
Flip.
It doesn't look good.
Well, interestingly, even though for whatever reason I read that you were gonna say bad, I was gonna make the argument that it looks kind of good. I was gonna play devil's advocate, even when I do think it looks a little. I don't think it looks bad.
It just looks...
I think it looks definitely better normally.
It looks like those weird Unreal Engine 4 things that people make to try to look good, but they really don't.
I think what's interesting to me is that it doesn't look like the tech is bad. It looks like a very advanced looking game. It just doesn't look vibrant and pretty. But like
it doesn't look great. Like it looks like plasticky, like a toy.
Maybe almost. I shouldn't have watched it on my phone. But I would say that, like, if you look at that, if Nintendo were to go for that direction without cel shading, they would just have to stylize the game differently.
Yeah, you can't make a cel shaded game and then just take it away and be like, oh, it looks fine. No, you need to shade it in like some other way. Now it just looks unshaded. It looks terrible.
Right. No, that's the point. Like, I think, they would have designed the game differently if it wasn't cel-shaded to look good. They wouldn't have just... Exactly. So, it looks bad because you're taking out a piece to what the design was supposed to be. But I still look at it like, hey, this looks like still technically impressive, and in some ways looks more realistic, right? Maybe like a pseudo-realistic kind of thing, but it's interesting. Man, I can't wait till we see the next 3D Zelda.
Yeah, it's going to be such a big jump over Breath of the Wild, to be honest.
Yeah, because it was their first open world game, right? Like, that was Nintendo's first open world game. Like, a true open world game. Mm-hmm. And that's what they were able to accomplish in the first try. Arguably one of the best games ever made. And the biggest jump for open world games since, like, ever. Like, they did a lot for their first entry, right? Like, it's pretty astronomical what they accomplished. So for the next one, I don't expect it to maybe... I think it's still probably going to be like a Game of the Year candidate kind of game, but I think the reception for it probably won't be as high because it's not going to be considered as big of a jump, maybe. But I also didn't think Super Mario Odyssey was going to be as good as Breath of the Wild, and I was wrong about that.
Right.
I
thought it was going to be good, just that they can do to make it as big a jump. Underwater exploration, I think, will be a big thing, especially if they can make that just stunning.
Yeah. No, but just let me be clear. I'm not saying the game won't be better and it won't improve upon everything. I just mean, like, it won't be as much of a shock to the industry, right? Like, oftentimes, like, why certain games get so much praise is because it's such a magnificent jump from the previous game. Like, Breath of the Wild, like, it completely reinvented the Zelda series, right? And like, the next game, like, it's not going to do that. It's going to build upon what Breath of the Wild accomplished, but it will be a better game.
Yeah. I just think there's some things that they could add that would make it a clear, like, jump, a leap over even Breath of the Wild.
I want there to be water exploration, but I'm playing through Breath of the Wild again now.
Water exploration. I think a really, really killer story would do it for the fans. I think critical reception wouldn't help that much.
More enemy designs.
Yeah, more enemies. More giant enemies and stuff like that.
Like, Breath of the Wild did everything great, but I just kind of want more variety with everything. Better told story, more... They have, like, so much verticality. More towns.
More, like, really big... I feel like they should have bigger towns, because the towns are really small. Like, big, hugely impressive towns.
This is not a terrible tangent, in my opinion.
No, but it's it's never bad talking about Breath of the Wild, even if we
technically didn't end the Pokemon stuff, but just if anyone wants us to go back to Pokemon stuff, feel free to address it in the comments. I'm gonna slash out the topic for now, but we'll may go back to it later, guys. Jesus, I don't even remember where I put this. Oof.
While you're doing that, Sabbath asked if we would want the same art style in the next game.
I want something different. It can look similar. For the record, every 3D Zelda has a vast art style change. Like, the only time it didn't happen was Majora's Mask, and that was technically like a direct sequel. So, if we're getting a direct sequel, I think the art style will probably be pretty similar. They might change some small aspects of it and give it like a slightly different atmosphere and tone.
Right.
But otherwise, that's only if it's a direct sequel. I don't expect a direct sequel. but maybe. Otherwise, I would expect a different art style. If you look at what they did with Astral Chain on the Switch, like, obviously it's not Nintendo, it's Platinum Games, but, like, I love how that looks. Like, it gives me kind of hope, like, what they could accomplish with the Switch, the ground-up Zelda using that physics engine. I really would like it if they could go and really try to give us an art style similar to that Wii U tech demo from 2011.
Yeah, really that's what I really want.
And I don't expect it to look like that, but something along those lines, you know what I mean? And maybe it still has a lot of cell shading for Breath of the Wild, but one thing that I'll say that I don't like about the art style in Breath of the Wild are the actual character models. Like, I love the environment. I don't like the character models.
Really?
Like, Link looks fine, Zelda looks, you know, beautiful, and Mifa's cool, and the champions are cool and stuff, but, like, the standard NPCs, like, they're just, like, so basic to me.
Yeah, they are very basic, but I feel like they're also very clean looking. Like,
they're just simple.
Good.
They're just simple.
Yeah, they're simple. I mean, they're NPCs, and there's a lot of them, so.
I think I just wanted, like, I like the designs in Twilight Princess. Like, the characters were the character of Twilight Princess had a lot in their design. There's a lot of detail and variety, and they were really different. Like, it'd be cool if they kind of went more to the back. Not on what the art style, but in terms of the character models, I want more variety with how the character models look. In Twilight Princess, they look great. I want that. I do realize that maybe one of the reasons why they went with those more simpler styles, because it's easier to make the game run that way, because there's not as much detail they put into the actual characters themselves. And I realize it's basically just more normally humanly proportioned Wind Waker style characters, and that's cool. But the thing is, in Wind Waker, the characters have bigger head. You can see their expressions more. The game's a bit brighter.
Really, like, it wasn't detailed, but it was
expressive.
It was expressive, and it had a lot of not graphical detail, but like care put into it, like small details about it that you could, like, kind of like environmental storytelling almost.
Okay.
On the character, like they put detail into it, but not in a graphical sense, in like a whiz-a-mabob kind of thing. Like, people carry things around and stuff.
So I guess what I want for Breath of the Wild is basically kind of like a merger of Breath of the Wild, but a little bit of aspects from Twilight Princess and the 2011 tech demo, which is basically the same thing if you think about it in HD. So
I kind of want them.
Like,
see, the thing is,
designs in Twilight Princess are really good. Like, I want more boss monster. I want more. You know, we talk more variety and stuff. And by the way, Ruby, we're talking about Breath of the Wild. It wasn't a planned topic. It just, you know, it's what's gonna happen sometimes.
It's not a podcast with the two of us if we don't talk about Breath of the Wild for at least 30 minutes.
Every day.
Yes.
No, sometimes.
But I think there's a lot of things. I feel like they didn't fully realize the Breath of the Wild art style. I feel like the Wii U tech held it back, and you can see a clear difference between the original demo and the final game, and a lot of graphical features were cut. The art style itself was changed to be more simplistic.
Yeah.
Overall, less detailed, and I feel like if they did another one with the Switch, they could fully realize that art style and make it even more gorgeous. I kind of want them to do that, but at the same time, I really liked the 2012, 2011 tech demo for the Wii U.
I like that, but I also realized that if they go for the 2011 style, that the actual overworld will take a hit. Right? Like, the overworld in Breath of the Wild looks incredible to me. Like, the actual environment you explore, there's so much detail. Like, it kind of surprises me when I'm running through the game and I just see all these different flowers and blades and they react to you. Like, there are parts where you can walk through the water and you see, like, different colored leaves, like, just flicking off you as you run across. Like, there's so much detail. Like, so much going on in Breath of the Wild. I love it. So I love the world. I'm only, if I'm complaining, it's because I'm complaining about the NPCs. I just want more variety of the designs, and maybe they don't have to change the style. Maybe they just have to do something to emphasize the characters' faces a little bit more, maybe stylize them a little bit more. Maybe that's all they really need to do to make it work. It'd also be cool to see if they were to go closer to something that, like, we saw from Ocarina of Time, like, make it, like, Ocarina of Time isn't realistic, right? Maybe it seemed like it was realistic back in the 90s, but if you remake that style now, it's not realistic. It's something else. So it'd be interesting to see that, but they're gonna go for something new, right?
Maybe, unless they want to use the Breath of the Wild engine and graphics to make a game quicker, but...
Maybe, but
I feel like if they were going to do that... I feel like... How long has it been? It's been already like 2...
It's been 2 years.
Been 2 years.
They did work on the DLC the first year, so there's that to consider. But that's not a whole team, you know, and... But maybe it slows down the development a little bit. Maybe not.
Yeah, because, I mean, if we see it in Holiday 2021, let's say, or even, like, next year, it's going to be, like, 3.5 years after the game come out. So, I guess that's pretty quick. So, if we see it...
There are people who think the next Zelda game, the next 3D Zelda game is coming out next year. People think that.
It's possible. I think if they do that, they'd have to have reused a lot of the assets.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
But... I mean, man, if it's between getting a game, but then again, I feel like 4.5 years, like getting out 2021, that's plenty of time to make it.
To put things into perspective, we go back to the late 90s, early 2000s. Ocarina of Time came out in 1998. Majora's Mask came out in 2000, and then guess what came out in 2002? Wind Waker. Granted, it came out early 2003 in the Americas, but you know.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't even 3. It wasn't even 2.5 years. And then it was after that it started taking forever to get Zelda games. Granted,
when they actually had like
before Ocarina of Time though, we had to wait quite a while. Because Link to the Past came out in 1991. Link's Awakening came out in 1993. And those are 2D Zelda. Like they were working on the first 3D Zelda game, so there was quite a bit of development for that.
It's just like back in the day, there was less to make. The worlds were smaller, and there was a lot less detail. Nowadays, the worlds are way bigger. Like Twilight Princess for the time, it had a pretty big world, a lot of detail. It was at the time, it was a very it was like
even though it was on the Wii, it was a game that held up even compared to the 360, early 360 and PS3 days, like early, right.
Not towards the at the very beginning.
Yeah, like when you look at footage of it, you're like, oh my god, this game looks like trash. But no, you were like, oh, this game looks amazing. Like it still looked amazing then. So you know, we'll see. Hard to say, but that's not the topic for today. So. Probably gonna move on now.
Yeah.
Let me see. Let me just check with the chat before we move into the next topic, though. Yeah, the next Zelda we're gonna have is Link's Awakening. That's coming out this year. Yeah, it's a remake, but there are rumblings of a Breath of the Wild-like game coming out next year. Rumblings. So you know, take it with a grain of salt, but I think it's possible considering if they reuse the engine.
Yeah.
I'm stoked for Link's Awakening, by the way, guys. I can't wait for it.
I love 2D Zelda games.
Brendan Stryer, I've also actually never played Link's Awakening. It's like one of the... I've played the original Legend of Zelda. I've played Zelda 2. I will never play the CDI games. Those don't even count. I'm sorry, I mentioned it.
No,
I haven't played the Oracle games, actually. And I haven't either. I didn't play Spirit Tracks. But I have. I've played Zelda 1, Zelda 2. I've played Minish Cap. I've played... Phantom Hourglass, and of course I played Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask. I've played Four Swords, although I didn't own Four Swords, I just like dabbled with it. Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, Skyward Sword, Breath of the Wild. I played A Link Between Worlds, Link to the Past. Did I mention? No, I did not mention A Link to the Past. I did not play Triforce Heroes.
I played the demo. It was fun. I just never had any friends to play with, so I was like, whatever.
Yeah, I can see that. I got turned off by all the clothes.
It was actually a cool mechanic. It was silly as hell, but it was cool.
Yeah,
there was some cool abilities you could get from it. They just looked stupid.
If it was on the 3DS, I would give it a try. But
yeah,
it's not on 3DS, so no, I'm not going back. I've moved on. I love Link Between Worlds, by the way. That's maybe my favorite 2D Zelda game. Although Minish Cap is up there. So I don't know. Link's Awakening remake might take the cake. That game seems to have a lot of personality. Saddest thing, I still want Ocarina of Time Majora's Mask on Switch. Agreed. Majora's Mask was made very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, it reused literally the exact same assets for a lot of the characters.
I also would agree that the Oracle games getting a remake is in the cards. If Link's Awakening gets a remake, maybe a few years down the road, even within the Switch lifecycle, I could see those getting a remake too. Darcy.
I feel like the Oracle games were some of the less popular ones. I feel like when you talk to people, like Awakening and Oracles are the ones they haven't played.
Yeah,
most people.
From what I've heard, they're really good. So.
Yeah, I've never played them.
Yeah. Darcy's saying, weekly reminder that we need a Pokemon Mystery Dungeon game for Switch. Game Freak did say or Pokemon Company technically said, that there are going to be other Pokemon announcements for the year, so...
Yeah, they did.
That could be in the cards. Robier, OMG, Ocarina of Time should be on Switch. I think that would work so... Well, why aren't they doing it?
We need Ocarina of Time 3D and Majora's Mask 3D and 1080p on the Switch with...
No, it would look terrible.
I mean, it looked like you emulated it.
If they... I mean, Virtual Console is cool. That's cool. But if they, like... The idea of them porting Ocarina of Time 3DS and Majora's Mask 3DS to Switch would not be... I don't want that. Right? I want...
Yeah, you want a real remake. I'm just saying, port that. If they're gonna port anything, port that, not the original version.
I guess. I mean, it would be better.
It would look way better.
I'm just saying that if they port it over, here's the thing. It's one thing to just kind of add on the original version, right? But then if you port over a remake, it kind of has this narrative. Oh, it's like, oh, this is a remade Zelda. Oh, it looks like a GameCube game in HD or something. Like, that's
worse than a GameCube game.
Right, exactly. It's like Dreamcast, maybe, right? Like, because I would agree that Ocarina of Time 3D looks better than the original by a lot, right? So, you know, where does that put it in the tier of systems? Like, it's better than C4, maybe, but
not quite GameCube,
right?
In terms of general geometry, I feel like.
Yeah, Robier means a remake, not just a port. Yeah.
I'd take a remake.
And I've said this several times, guys. I want them to reimagine Ocarina of Time and tell us the story of how Link fell in battle, and which kind of sets up the beginning of the Fallen Hero timeline. I want to see that. And in the Breath of the Wild engine. So it's a reimagined Ocarina of Time Hyrule, right? Maybe there's more towns, more areas, more quests, things like it's a bigger version, but it's that. I want that. That'd be amazing. But
some people want like a double pack on Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask remake. I say that's not gonna happen, dude. I'd take a $60 Ocarina of Time remake and then a $60 Majora's Mask remake. I'd pay $120 for that shit. I ain't trying to skim.
But let's move on, just because it's stuff to talk about. So yeah, we're gonna talk about how I didn't get a proper photo, but look at this. Look at this atrocity, my friends. Look at this atrocity right here. I'm sure you guys can see that very clearly. I'm sure some of you... What is this? This is not... What? Okay. Look at this. Look at this monster.
There you go.
This is a monster.
What have they done to
What have they done? I don't know.
Right next to it is a perfectly nice Sonic model.
Right. That's actually a great, kind of nice little thing how they're like right next to each other. Like, this is how he should have looked. This is how they made him look. WTF. Like,
the proportions are all wrong.
The eyes
are all wrong.
Fishy. He has no gloves now, and he's wearing Nikes instead.
He has white fur instead of gloves. How does that make any sense?
Oh, and this is just another... Like I said, I didn't find all the photos, like, but there's a random thumbnail of someone's video that has some of the other photos that have been circulating. Like, there's this, and then there's this dude over here. This is like a shot, supposedly, of like him in a side view mirror of a car. Like, people are having nightmares of this stuff.
The problem, I think the main problem isn't, you know, the fact that he has realistic fur or anything. It's the proportions are all wrong.
Yeah, they're bad.
They try to make him look realistic.
They're bad.
It's like, when you see the Pokemon models, yeah, they use, like, realistic materials, but they're the same proportions. They don't look like a real... Like, Pikachu doesn't look like a real mouse. Like, no.
Detective Pikachu, I think they did a great job with the designs. Even the ones that look kind of creepy, they're still better. Because I feel like they're true. They're true to the design of the Pokemon. They're just redone in a realistic sense. This Sonic character, like, they're changing aspects of his design. Like, the gloves. No gloves. Right? The shoes, they're Completely different. They're like a
his
brand
legs are short. What's wrong with why are his legs so short? His legs
have like more human proportions now. His eyes are
They're
smaller and pulled to the side, right? Like
if they had just made Sonic with like fur, that'd be great. It's like all the Pokemon models are just like Pokemon with realistic materials, essentially. They're the same shapes and proportions, and they're still very cartoony in their nature.
You know what's sad?
So big, weird, cartoony eyes and stuff.
They could change the design a little bit quickly. Like, if it's all CGI, I feel like they can go back and they can touch up the design, pull the eyes a little closer, throw on some gloves. Like, I think it's... Look, I'm not a coder. I don't know exactly how it works, but I imagine that if the movie's coming out in, like, November or something, like, they probably could fix up the design in a few months. Maybe that's one of the reasons why maybe they leak this stuff, because they want to see the reception, right?
They might be able to. The problem is they have to re-render everything. So if they have a scene rendered, which can take days for a single scene, you have to re-render everything.
Fix the eyes. Like, how hard can it be to just go back?
You make one adjustment,
you don't have to change the positioning. You don't have to change the positioning of the character model or the scenes. You just have to change how the eyes react to the environment, right? Like, it's work. I'm not saying it's not work, but I feel like it's conceivable, right?
I mean, that'd probably take a lot of work. It's like if you edited a video and you upload it to YouTube and people are like, oh, change it. It's like, okay, I can't just go and change it. I have to redo the entire thing now.
First of all, if it's published, it's a little different.
No, I just mean like you have it, even if you don't upload it, if it's just rendered, it's like, okay, go change this one letter. It's like, okay, I'm only changing one letter, but now I'm re-rendering the entire thing.
That's not that hard for me to do.
But it takes time is the problem.
It takes time, but it's not like I have to remake the whole video. I just have to go back, edit the note on that one clip, and...
No, yeah, but you have a specific time frame.
I'm just saying...
You have to make it in time, so you already have your current time budget is set to finish the movie.
I feel like it's very possible that maybe they have some leeway here, right? Like, I feel like they have to have leeway. If they already know the date, like, the thing's pretty much done, right? Like, I'm pretty sure they can... I think it's possible. Is it going to happen? I don't know, right?
I don't think so.
And what if they did it by intention because they want to make sure that they have the design right and they see, you know, like... I'm just saying. I think it's possible.
I feel like they're going to change it.
I'm not saying expect it. I'm just saying...
I don't think there's any way they'd have time to do that, to be honest. You have to change. It's not just one scene either. It's every scene he's in. You have to go back and change it for every scene, and you have to re-render every scene. Some scenes can take days or weeks to render. You don't have that much time. You're already not done with the movie. You have to finish the movie, and not only that, you have to go to every scene you've already finished and redo it all.
Well,
and re-render it all.
Unless we see, like, for example, the only leaked photo that's seems to be from an actual scene in the movie is the one with the side view mirror. If we see that scene in the movie, then we'll know 100% that this was a real leak. And if we see that the design is different when the movie comes out, that's the only way I can be like, ha, Brandon, I was right. They did change it. If that scene's not even in the movie, right, then we'll never know if we see it and it's different, right, or not. If it could be it's real and we see it, it is what it is and it just looks terrible. So we'll see. But yeah, like I said, I'm not like saying you're wrong I'm just saying you're probably right. I'm just saying maybe there's a chance. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, technically it's possible they could hire people and get it done, but I just like at this point, no.
Right, maybe we should.
They're not gonna do it.
We shouldn't expect this. I would agree. I don't think we should expect that. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat though about it. Let me see. Well, this is different, but Ruby, you're saying, what are we, gamers? What do we want? Metroid Prime Trilogy Remake, Zelda Ocarina of Time Remake, Metroid Fusion Remake, Zelda Majora's Mask Remake, Moto 3, Isaac and Shadow and Smash Brothers. Exactly. So I was saying, I guess from wearing the gloves for so many years, it gave him a white tan line. Yeah, there you go. That's what happened. Video game we should just stick to being animated. I honestly like how Detective Pikachu looks, but
Yeah.
I think it looks pretty good. But we'll see how things pan out when the movie actually comes out. It might still be terrible. And Joe, it is important to know that it could be fake, but I don't think it is. I think most people agree it's probably real though, but it might not be. So you can still take it with a grain of salt. But we'll see. We'll see soon once we get an official trailer.
You know something funny? The creator of Sonic actually tweeted out. He's like, "This is." He hadn't seen the designs yet for the movie.
His creator of Sonic thinks this is real, and he thinks it's trash. Yuji Naka, right? Like, yeah, it's bad.
He thought it was absolute garbage, and everyone in the comments was like, "Oh no!"
It was not okay with this. I think Sega just kind of got bullied into letting this happen.
Yeah,
like, I think whoever they partnered with was like, it very much. I think whoever they partnered with was just like saying, "We know what we're doing, trust us." And Sega was like, "Okay."
Yeah, it seems like they didn't even see this. Like, the creator of the character hadn't even seen the designs yet. Like, what the heck?
That's what's interesting. Like, so the creator, guys, check this out, right? So the creator, Sonic, didn't even know about the Sonic movie design, right? Until it got leaked, right? And he doesn't like it. In contrast to Nintendo, the Mario movie hasn't been revealed yet. They're still working on it, but we've gotten several interviews and reports how Shigeru Miyamoto, the creator of Mario, is working closely with the development studio for this movie about everything. They're working on the script, the designs of the character, everything. They want to make sure it's all sticking to the source material. The actual creator is working hand in hand with the people on this movie. Think about the contrast there. Sonic creator didn't even know about the design. Shigeru Miyamoto for the Mario movie is a part of the creative process for this movie. Like, he's part of making it happen and coming up with everything. Huge differences here. Probably why the Sonic movie is going to be a complete failure and the Mario movie is going to be a success, right? Assuming it happens, because plans fall through. That's happened before. It's also the same thing with the Detective Pikachu movie, though. Like, even though it's a very big departure, at the same time, there's something about all of the designs that is staying true to the design. It's just in a realistic way, right? So I think they communicated with Pokemon Company. Like, it wasn't like, hey, okay, let's just do our own thing and just give us money. No, like,
it's not like Pikachu's over here being a yellow rat. It's not like Pikachu's over like an actual mouse yellow. God, like, no. Imagine
if they've got a rat and painted it yellow and just had electricity animations coming out of it.
That's the problem with Sonic, is he looks like he's supposed to be this, like, humanoid thing, and he's like a humanoid hedgehog. It's
disgusting. It's disgusting. Ruby is saying realistic doesn't equate to better quality. Agreed. Sam is saying he's seen a leak of Dr. Eggman and he looks better than Sonic. You have a link to that? I want to see that. If you have a link, let me know. I would like to see Dr. Eggman. Brandon, have you seen that?
I have not.
Okay, that'd be cool. That'd be interesting to look at. Is the Mario movie in production mastermind? I know they're at least in the planning stages.
Yeah.
So they're working on it. It's still a few years away if it happens. So don't be like thinking we're getting a trailer anytime soon. No, we're still a ways off. Computer robot Sonic movie didn't need to happen. I was not thinking or even wanting one, so I kind of agree with you. No, yeah, Masterman. The Mario movie's way, way off. Years away. Sabbath, I'd rather play Sonic Forces than probably watch a Sonic movie. We'll see. The Sonic movie gave me another reason why I prefer the OV a lot more.
Hold on. Apparently, Jim Carrey is not going to be Eggman anymore, according to this thing I'm reading.
Oof.
It's not Jim. It's a guy named Frank C. Turner. What the heck?
This seems like a dumpster fire now.
What's happening?
They should have just done a movie based off Sonic Adventure. It would have been interesting. That's the thing with Computer was saying. That's the thing with Hollywood. Money is more important than quality. So here's the problem, though. If the quality's not there, is the movie gonna do well? You know, like they're probably thinking how little. Like, they're probably thinking like how much resources, how little amount of resources we can put into this movie and still have it make a lot of money for us. Like, maybe that's their perspective, so, which would suck, right? Like, because if they're thinking that they can make this movie good enough or whatever to just live off the name of Sonic and still make millions of dollars, even if it's a terrible movie, I guess, but I feel like if the movie's terrible, it's not going to get that many, it's not going to make that much money.
I feel like Sonic's not as big a name as it was. Like, people aren't going to go see a Sonic movie just because it's a Sonic movie.
And maybe that's
like
why.
Mario, yeah, but not Sonic.
Maybe it's why it's going to be terrible, because they're not willing to put in the money into to make sure it's actually, like, done right? Like
even good Sonic games don't sell that much. Like, they sell okay, but they're not, like, 10 million sellers or anything.
The bigger issue, though, is that you have these designers who very clearly are not with the masses here in terms of what people want. And look, I'm all for being an individual, being creative, but they're destroying someone else's design. Like, this is not, like, they're clearly off base of this. Like, they're off. And you have tons of people on the internet who very quickly have come up with way better designs. Like, this is not, it's pathetic. What is it? I mean, it might be good, man. Like, you know, like, maybe it's fine. Maybe we're really exaggerating here, and when we see the movie, it's gonna be great. But the creator himself doesn't like it, so, you know, just put that in perspective.
The designs are definitely bad. Whether or not the movie will be good, who knows? We haven't seen enough of the movie itself, but the design sucks.
Yeah. I think we'll see, but it's probably not gonna be good, guys. That's definitely my thinking right now. So, in interest of ending this podcast within 2 hours, let's move on to the final topic. So, Mario Day was yesterday, March 10th. So MAR101 looking like an I, 0 looking like an O, Mario, March 10th, Mario Day, right? That was yesterday. So, let's just talk about our favorite Mario game. I don't know what mine is. It's definitely a 3D Mario game.
Right.
It's Splatoon, Galaxies 1, 2, Mario Odyssey, and Sunshine.
Sunshine.
I'm not gonna give it to Sunshine because Mario Galaxy and Odyssey are better.
You're not gonna give it Sunshine because every other 3D Mario game is better. Gotcha.
Yeah. Galaxy 1 and 2 or Odyssey. Hard to say for me. I really loved all of them. Odyssey was special. It was really special. And the thing is, I played the Galaxy games when I was a little younger, so there's that nostalgia factor.
So my problem with Odyssey is I've gotten to the point where I don't feel like collecting moons anymore. Like, I just don't want to go back and find the 1 or 2 moons that I've missed, because it's just gonna be me wandering around for like 10 years until I finally find it.
Interesting, because for me, I saw a video a couple days ago of this guy. It's a hack, but they went to the Lost Kingdom, not the one with the giant dragon. What's it called? Is it called the Lost Kingdom?
Ruined Kingdom,
because the Lost Kingdom is like Lost World, like, you know, the dinosaur kingdom.
Yeah.
But the Ruined Kingdom, like, he was able to jump all the way to the bottom of the tower and try to climb up where you weren't supposed to be. And a lot of it was already there rendered, which is pretty darn cool. And just kind of seeing the platforming of the game. Again, with Mario Odyssey, there's so much freedom in terms of the mechanics. There's a lot to enjoy with that, and there's a lot of replay value with that. And, you know, there's things about Mario Odyssey where you can break through boundaries naturally within the game. You can do more, and the game's so big, and there's so much fun with it. I don't know. Mario Odyssey might be a better game in terms of replayability than the Galaxy games, because there's kind of more freedom as to how you can go about exploring it and doing stuff within it. But I feel like I liked the bosses and music more in the Galaxy games. So it's kind of it's hard for me to pick which ones, because both are challenging, both are really good. I'm glad both happened. I kind of hope that if there's a Galaxy 3, it's kind of made with the Odyssey engine and it is more open like Odyssey, but it still has those space and gravity mechanics like Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what I want. A merger of the two, that might be the best Mario game yet. And yeah, I would like to see that.
Mario Odyssey is great until I get to like the last like 10 moons in an area, and then I just get bored because I'm just running around aimlessly for like most of the time, just hoping to run into a moon. And the thing is, like the last couple moons, I don't find them fun to find. Like I've run into it and like, oh, yay, I found it after like 10 minutes of just running around doing absolutely nothing. It's like, it's fun when you're running around like there's a bunch of moons and you're just going and you're solving puzzles constantly and finding moons constantly and getting to new places and seeing what's up. But going back and going those last few ones, you're just running around hoping to stumble upon a moon, and it's just not fun anymore for me. I just use the hint bird, and then I just go straight to them.
Which you don't have to get every single moon.
No, you don't. I'm just saying it's just not as fun for me to get all of them.
Interesting.
After a while.
But did you get all of them in Galaxy?
I tried. I feel like with Galaxy, you
I have 100%er. I 100% in Galaxy 1, Galaxy 2, and Odyssey, and they're all really good. And if you're not 100%er, you're trash and you're bad. I'm kidding.
I don't think I've ever 100% a Mario game.
Yeah, that's just my thing. So for me, like, I love collecting it all. I love pushing my platforming limits, and that's when you find the real challenge of the Mario games, when you try to get every single thing. The later levels get harder and harder. I really like that.
Well, that's the problem with Mario.
There's always a secret like ending level with these Mario games when you get everything, and I love that too.
Yeah, I mean, I like doing it when there's like things, but it's just like those one like random moons that are like, oh, I found a random corner I hadn't been to, and there's a box, and I opened it, I got a moon, yay! Like I like when it gets down to those, I just get bored. But when it's actually like challenges, then it's fun. But after a while, it just gets to the point where it's just like, okay, I'm just like hide and seek with the moons now.
So I'm seeing in chat, you guys think Odyssey's short? I don't agree. The game, I put well over 100 hours in Mario Odyssey.
Yeah, check right now. I think I only have like 50.
If you're just going for the first Bowser fight, okay, but there's so much more game after that. I don't feel like Odyssey is short at all.
I have 40 hours in Odyssey.
I don't know. Like, I mean, I guess honestly, depends on you play it. If you're telling me if you 100%ed it and you in 4 days, all right, well, that's special. From my perspective, Odyssey is a very big Mario game.
I haven't been Dark Side or Darker Side, so I could probably put another 5-10 hours into doing that. I don't know how long those are, but I assume. So I'd say 50 hours if you're not going for, if you're going for like a general, like I've played the game, I haven't found every single moon, but I found most of them. Like that's, I think 50 hours is about that time. Then it kind of gets tedious for me because I'm just like, okay, there's like one moon off in some random corner somewhere I haven't gone, whatever.
Are there any 2D Mario games that, sorry, I was just going to ask you.
I was done.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I was done.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. I was just going to ask, are there any 2D Mario games that you'd rank highly, or are you with me here where the 3D Mario games are just your favorite?
Honestly, I've rarely owned 2D Mario games. I've played them, and I never hugely owned them. I never, like, I played at a friend's house, and I never felt like buying it for myself, because I never really enjoyed them that much.
I definitely don't like 2D Mario games as much as 3D Mario games. Fact of the matter is that I 100% 3D Mario games. I don't 100% the 2D Mario games. Although I got pretty close with New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. I 100%ed Super Mario 3D Land, Super Mario 3D World, but those aren't 2D Mario games. So they're 3D Mario games.
Honestly, 2D Mario, I don't really like it that much for most part, to be honest.
Super Mario World has a pretty special place in my heart.
It's not like Zelda for me. Like Zelda, I love 2D Zelda. I love 3D Zelda way more, but I also love 2D Zelda. Like Mario, I couldn't care less if they never made it.
I don't love Zelda 1 or Zelda 2. I like them. I don't love them.
I think at the time they were good. Well, Zelda 2, I don't know. But all the other ones I really like. But yeah, those two didn't age very well.
I would say that I would rather, if I had to pick between playing the original Zelda and the original Mario, I'd rather play the original Mario.
I'd rather... Excuse me. I'd actually rather play the original Zelda.
Okay.
I think it holds up as well as the original Mario does.
I do prefer a Link to the Past over Super Mario World, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think once we got to A Link to the Past, the Zelda series, kind of takes it up a notch for me.
Honestly, though, Link to the Past is like one of my least favorite 2D Zelda games. I
like the charm of Minish Cap a lot.
Minish Cap was great. 100% of Minish Cap.
Minish Cap's really cool. Link Between Worlds is also amazing. So,
yeah.
But this
I didn't understand.
We're supposed to talk about Mario Day. We're going back to Zelda.
Oh, yes.
Let's reel it back. We already did this. We already did this from Pokemon. Let's not do Mario dirty as well.
I mean, the only 2D Zelda game that I've really played extensively would be New Super Mario Bros. Wii, which was okay.
Oh.
I played the original. I've played 3. Played World. I just didn't.
So yeah, I mean, we agree. We prefer the 3D Mario. I mean, it's just that simple. We do. That's the age we grew up in. It's better for us. I agree.
The only 3D Mario game
Mario Maker though, but I still haven't put it.
Mario Maker's great.
I love Mario Maker. I still have to say the amount of time I put into Mario Maker is less than I put into 3D Mario games. So
the amount of time I put into Mario Maker is more time than I put into any of the other 2D Zelda games. 2D Mario games.
Are you more of a maker, or are you more of a death haver or taker?
More of a maker, actually. But I like playing other people's levels as well. I'm just not very good.
When I first started YouTube, one of the first things there were 3 series that I did in the beginning of my YouTube days. At the beginning, I was trying to do Let's Plays, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one of them was Pokken, right? When Pokken Tournament came out on the Wii U, that's when around the time I started doing YouTube. That didn't work out. I didn't know how to record with OBS. Like I was recording the footage of the gameplay and my camera footage separately, and I had to figure out that it was terrible. It was bad, and my computer sucked. But there's that. There was, and then there was also Twilight Princess HD, which was a painful thing because I just tried to record myself playing the game in hero mode with 3 hearts. The problem was with that is that I would try to. They were Let's Plays. They weren't streams, so I would try to cut them down into clips. So I'd play for like 3-4 hours. I'm like, okay, let's take this 4-hour piece of footage and clip it down to like 10 minutes.
No,
and that was just when I started. My editing skills are so bad at the time. And then
Let's Plays you play for like 30 minutes to an hour, and you cut it down to like 10-20 minutes.
Yeah, well, that's how long it took me to beat the dungeon. And the Mario Maker was maybe worse, because with Mario Maker I would take these levels that were ridiculously hard and I would play them until I beat them. And the problem wasn't the editing would be one thing, because it'd be hours of footage, but it was also the pain of accomplishing the task of beating these levels. Some of them just seemed impossible, and so we're talking about like 6-7 hours of anguish.
What the heck, levels. Dude? I could never put that much time into a single level.
I only did 2 episodes. I did 2 episodes. It was ridiculous, but yeah, it was tough, man. It was tough. It was really tough. Mario Maker is just brutal, bro. There are some levels. Well, the thing is, if people make the levels, they make them as hard as they want. There are some ridiculously brutal levels, and I love the challenge. Some of them I go for, but sometimes they make me want to cry. They're really hard. But I did beat. I made 2 episodes. I beat some of them. They were painful, and so it was tough.
Yeah. The only 3D Zelda game, I keep
saying Zelda.
Keep saying Zelda, but no, Mario. The only 3D Mario game I haven't played is Galaxy 2, because I only own Galaxy 1. So I need to play Galaxy 2.
You should.
I would love it if they ported those to the Switch.
As Yoshi.
Yeah.
As Yoshi. Yeah, those games could be. Like, if they were to do, like, a Wind Waker HD, but for Galaxy, that'd be really cool.
Yeah. Honestly, you throw that in emulator, it looks really good.
But that's what I mean. Like, some minor HD enhancements, the games hold up really well. That'd be cool. I would kind of like to see that. I prefer if they were just to give us a Galaxy 3. But,
Yeah.
I understand your point of view, because you don't have access to Galaxy 2.
And I beat Galaxy 1, but I never 100%ed it because my Wii broke, so.
Gotcha.
Dude, my Wii broke and my Wii U broke. What the hell?
So let me check some of the questions in the chat. Let me see. Well, Samus specifically asked me, Andres, if you were to choose between Super Mario 64 and Sunshine, which one would you pick?
64.
Ooh. Well, what do you mean? Do you mean, like, to ever have?
It doesn't matter. 64.
Well, I'll pick Mario 64, but if you're talking about which game I would like to go back and play right now, I pick Sunshine, because I haven't played through Sunshine in years, and I
that makes sense.
Through the game. I
haven't played through 64 in a while.
So that's the thing for me. I think Mario Sunshine deserves a remake more than anything else, because that game...
64 needs a remake more.
No.
Because Sunshine's at least the controls hold up better.
Well, my point is that Sunshine, with some minor changes, could be made into a great game. Some people don't think it's a great game, and I think it can become a great game with some minor changes.
It's not fun.
Why not?
Major changes. It's not fun.
What's wrong with Mario Sunshine that cannot be fixed with some minor fixes?
It's not fun to play. The level design's not good.
You're wrong. Go on.
I like fun.
We just that point. Go on.
The graphics are fine. It's just my problem is getting shines, whatever they're called. Those are not fun. Getting them's not fun. Accomplishing the missions and playing the game is not fun.
Why?
It's just annoying. It's the level design's not interesting.
You're wrong.
And it's not fun.
Getting Petey Piranha's great. Killing ghosts
is
great.
No. All the bosses in the game suck.
No.
Well, they're fine the first time, but not the 10th time after you've beaten them 7 different ways.
What do you think of all the Shadow Mario levels?
Those are good. I like those.
To Galaxy.
I like those a lot, actually. Those are the good part of. See, the game's not terrible. It's just not compared to other 3D Mario games. It's not that great. It's fun on its own. If that was like the first 3D Mario game, I'd be like, okay. But it's not. It's the second one, it's not even as fun as the first one.
My contention, going back to Sunshine, is just that you would work on the camera controls a little bit, change around the gameplay a little bit with some areas, some optimizations, maybe add a couple more worlds, and Mario Sunshine HD would be a godsend. It'd be so good.
I do think that the controls were the best part of that game, because it controlled way better than Mario 64 did.
So much more fluid, so much more accurate to perform.
60 FPS was definitely nice. Or was it 30? Was it 30? I remember... No, yeah, it might have been 30. I think Galaxy was the first 60 FPS one, right?
I don't know.
Yeah. Either way, it controlled way better than 64, which is why 64 needs a remake, because that's its weakest part. I think the level design...
It did get a remake. It's called Super Mario Odyssey.
And it's not the same game.
It's not the same game, but you know what I mean. Nintendo's not gonna really feel the need to make a 64 remake.
It needs a remake.
And a remake for Mario 64 requires rebuilding the game from the ground up. You take Mario Sunshine, you can make that game hold up to today's standards with some minor changes. Maybe update the character models a little bit, clean up the textures, update the lighting. There you go. It's amazing.
But it's not good. The levels aren't fun. Some of them are, but most of them are okay. It's a merely okay game.
Right, Mario 64 DS is basically a remake, and those controls sucked, I agree.
Yes, because it was on DS, and it was even worse controls than the original.
Yeah. Also, Sabbath, I don't know if you heard, we talked, at the very beginning of the podcast, we were talking about how Turok's coming to Switch. I'm actually really excited about that. Yeah. So, I guess my favorite Mario games are the Galaxy games of Mario Odyssey, which are, I guess 3D Land, 3D World are more recent than that. But, fairly recent Mario games. So, I think that's... I
kind of count...
Nintendo's doing a good job.
I kind of count 3D World as more of the 2D. It plays more like the 2D games. It's in 3D, I guess, but it plays more like the 2D games.
I think if we're gonna talk about 3D Mario games, it's a 3D Mario game. So
it's in this weird in between.
It's an in between, but it's still, I would still qualify as a 3D Mario game, just not my favorite one. It's my least favorite.
If we were classifying as a 2D game, though, I would say it's the best 2D game.
Oh, it's because it's not a 2D game, and you like the 3D ones.
It plays kind of like I feel like the level design.
You move in the 3D space.
Okay? Yeah, you do.
You move in a 3D space. It is a 3D Mario game.
I know.
It was called a 3D Mario game before it was showed off. Like it is what it is. Was it what we wanted? No, but it's still pretty good. I 100%ed it, so it can't be that bad. Well,
yeah, I don't remember if I 100%ed or I got close.
Yeah, at least for me, it can't be that bad for me if I 100%ed it. Is what I'm trying to say.
It was great. It was for what it was. It was great. I loved it. But... yeah,
and the Galaxy games are considered 3D games. They're not open world games. Oh, yeah. They're not open world games. They're not open like 64 Sunshine, but they are 3D. You move in a 3D space. The 3D space may be a little bit limited, but it is a 3D space. So,
I love Galaxy 1. It was so good. The music's great. Honestly, though, I like the music in Odyssey more. I feel like it's more varied.
So, anything else you want to say before we call it a night for the podcast? I think we've pretty much covered everything. I
guess if I have to give my favorites, I'd put Odyssey as first, with Galaxy 1 as a close second. And I don't know about Galaxy. I hear Galaxy 2 is better, but I've never played it, so there you go.
Balls. I don't know. That's my opinion. Balls. My opinion is balls. I already said what my opinion is. I like the Galaxy games and Odyssey the most. Those are my favorite Mario games, and I would love to see them come back to Galaxy 3. That'd be cool. That'd be really cool. I do think we're gonna see another 3D Mario game on the Switch. Really soon. And then I actually am excited for Mario Maker, by the way. That's
I'm excited for Mario
Maker 2 is gonna be pretty good. But it's not the same as 3D Mario. It's a different tier. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I'm gonna call it a night. Thanks everyone for watching. If you're new here and you haven't seen Brandon before, I'll say Nintendo. No,
I haven't seen Nintendo before.
Well, I don't get it. But yeah, check out Brandon. Link to his channel in the description below. What about Nintendo? And leaving a like would be appreciated. I probably won't cry as much tonight, depending on how many likes I see. And that's pretty much it. So, have a good night, guys. See you soon. Take care.
Bye, guys.